Happy wife does not always mean happy life, especially when it comes to your wardrobe. And here to tell you why is our good friend and celebrity stylist, Rod Allen Baker. Welcome back, Rod.
Thanks, Ken. Thanks, Megan.
Yeah, we love having you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'd love to be here.
Yeah, so let's talk about it.
First of all,
right.
I'd like to just thank him for bringing our beautiful clothes.
Yeah,
He
so
dressed us
everything that
today.
we have on today is
Rod Allen.
brand Rod Allen.
You guys look incredible.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
great clothes. It really fits well. I love the look.
Not even an adjustment.
Yeah.
I love it. But yes, happy wife does not always mean happy husband when it comes to clothing. So
Yeah.
you had some stories you told us today, which were
Yeah,
pretty amazing.
it's so important when I always talk about dressing someone from the inside out. It's important for me to really get to know their personality. And not all personalities are bright. Like Megan, you and I are pretty bright today, where Ken is more on the subdued side, you
Yeah.
know, and that's really more Ken's personality. If I were to dress, so Megan, if you were to say to Ken, I love this pink and I love Ken in pink. If I put Ken in this jacket,
That would be terrible.
you would not even want to go out in public.
No.
Right? You would be like, I'm not going anywhere today.
No.
You know, and no matter what she says, you're not going to want to do that. If I put you into my jacket, which is kind of a teal green jacket, it would be the same thing. You'd be like, Rod, it looks great on you,
Right.
but it doesn't work for me.
You can pull it off. I can't.
And that goes back to the question, happy wife, happy life. If she says for you to wear this color, it doesn't mean that it's going to be, it's going to make you happy.
Now, you've got some personal experience
Oh.
with this exact thing.
I've had, so I was sharing with you earlier this story of, I had a client of mine that I had worked with for a long time, and he got a new girlfriend. So the girlfriend was very colorful, and she wanted me to make him this green, like the Masters, the golf, the Masters color green jacket, and she wanted it in tails, like a morning coat,
like a tuxedo with
like
tails.
a tux, but green. And she was
like
like,
the kind of green you're wearing?
yeah, but brighter green.
Oh,
It was
like
like the Masters
Grass green.
Yeah, grass green. And I let them know, listen, that's a stretch. And I said, and you know, and he was like, whatever she wants. And I said, well, a green jacket's great, but for me to go to all the extent of putting it into a morning coat or tails, that's a whole different deal. And I said, because that's something that's very like avant-garde. It's something that is, you're not going to wear it into court. You're not going to wear that like to go out to dinner with friends. You know, that's
Yeah,
something.
how do you even sit with something with tails?
You don't. It's something that if you ever see the piano players, you know, that play in tails,
Yeah.
they flip it up
Yes.
back behind the chair, and you know, so it lays down. And that was kind of the point of that whole jacket. It's a formal type of thing. So I tried to do everything I could to talk them out of that jacket, but she was very insistent, and he was like, whatever she wants. And so I made it, and I put it on him. Believe it or not, it fit him perfect, and she loved it, but he was like, I hate it.
He had to.
And he wanted his money back. And I said, I'm sorry, this is custom done. I said, I can't do that.
Yeah, you didn't make it wrong.
No, I made it perfect. Not even one adjustment. But that just tells you that just because it's a beautiful color doesn't mean that your personality is going to be able to pull that off, or that you're that personality. That's why it's so important to really, for me, to really look inside the person, to really see their personality. So then whatever they wear is communicating that personality.
It's so true.
It's like you with that
yeah.
pink jacket on and white pants, white
It's
top.
just me.
It's so you. As soon as I saw it on you, I was just like, bam.
But I also think that it's a reflection of you as well. So if you're bright and you're wearing something more just kind of dull, I put on stuff before we've gone on the news or different things, and my makeup girl's like, you're really wearing that? Like, not in a mean way.
Yeah.
But she's like, that's so like boring.
It doesn't match you.
It doesn't match your personality. And I think that people know that. And so talking along those lines, do you ever think that people wear things that they shouldn't be wearing? Like, I know it's like fake it till you make it. So you wear something, but that's probably still within a level of who you feel like you are.
Correct.
Whereas if you're a very kind of shy personality, are you going to put them in something bright and all of these things? Because they're not going to fulfill the outfit. Doesn't the outfit itself have a personality?
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, it's communicating so much. And if it's communicating the wrong thing, it kind of messes the whole thing up. I remember years ago, I had a client of mine who he dressed in real colorful clothes. And everyone in the room, in the boardroom, I think he was an attorney, in fact, if I remember right. And they'd have all these guys in the room, and they were all in blues and grays because business is done in blue and gray. But he had on a jacket like yours, Megan. And everyone knew that his wife dressed him because he didn't know how to dress. He just didn't know. He didn't know how to dress, right? And he actually, depended on his wife to dress him. And everyone in the room, they used to just chuckle because he just didn't know what to do. And so his wife told him, "Oh, I love you in this color." Well, now going out on a date night or or going out to dinner with friends or a party or something like that, it would have been perfect. But in a boardroom or in a courtroom or something like that, to walk in there in a pink jacket, he would have looked ridiculous. Right?
I keep going back to that movie in my head, My Cousin Vinny. Yeah. Where there was the running gag as the New York lawyer, New Jersey lawyer down in the deep South.
Yeah.
And he didn't have a regular suit. So the judge got all over him the first day because he was wearing his just fancy, street clothes.
Yeah, street clothes.
The next day he got a suit, but he slipped and fell in the mud or something like that and couldn't wear the suit. So he had to go rent. And the only thing he could rent was like a red tuxedo with ruffles. And the judge looked at him and said, "Are you mocking me, boy?"
Well, and it just... There's a part of my book series that I talk about groups and settings, okay?
Yeah.
So after your personality and your passions when it comes to dressing someone, the next thing is taking into consideration the groups and settings that you're in. So if you're with a group of CEOs around a boardroom, or like you just said, Ken, in a courtroom, you want to match that more. Now, you may have a little more personality with it. Maybe you're wearing a tie that just really accents it or whatever.
Sure, you could do a splash of color.
Yeah, you could wear exactly what you have on with just a little bit of splash.
Right.
But to be the whole splash, that kind of kills the whole group that you're in, right?
Right.
It looks like you're the only one that the wife is dressing for the boardroom.
You might as well dress like Santa Claus.
You might as well.
Because stick out like a thumb.
You stick out like a sore thumb. The other thing is the setting. So like if you're going to a real high-end restaurant, okay, in the daytime, like what you're wearing right now, Megan, is perfect. A luncheon, perfect.
Yeah.
Now, to dress in the evening for a real formal type of thing, what you're wearing for that setting doesn't go, right? And so I always tell people to really take into consideration, what is the group that I'm going into? Okay. And is it with a whole bunch of, I think I said this on our last podcast, is it a bunch of construction people or IT people? Or is it more executive, C-level type of people?
Well, it's also where you're going. I know that we're going to Poland and, we visit the castles, and we are also there for schools and a missions trip and things like that. And there was kind of a little bit of a weirdness last year because
it was a disconnect between you and some of the other women.
And all the other women, actually. They're very comfortable, which actually, for me, and I don't know if it's always, I think, the people that feel less than. If you feel confident in who you are, You can walk into somewhere, and if this person is confident that they're in sweats and gym shoes and a t-shirt, and you're confident, I don't, like, you do you. I can't stand it when they wear that and then they get mad at me because I think I'm better than them. I'm dressed up and I'm this. And so it's like, if you're going to not dress up because you don't like to do that and you don't feel like that, that's where I think a lot of times even clothes are intimidating to other people. So if you don't like what you're wearing, learn to wear something different, but don't disrespect the other people that do know who they are and they want to dress up.
But see, that was your comfort zone, was doing your hair and makeup and looking nicer because of what we were doing.
But you're right. And this is where I lost my focus a little bit, because you were talking about read the room, read where you're at. We're in Poland. We're with the mayor. We're with all of these principals of the schools and all of these groups.
Prince and princess.
And
we were
prince
in their
and princesses.
presence at one point.
You know, Richard, who is the head of it, he had mentioned we needed to dress up more one of the nights. It's not a ball, like they had a ball last year, which I brought a ballroom dress. But this year, it's a little bit more casual, maybe cocktail type of situation. And, you know, one of the women that are going, very nice, but she was kind of caught off guard because she said, we're going to Europe. I just bring a backpack. I'm not dressing up. Megan, you're dressing up? And I thought, girl, I dress up everywhere I go.
It's a different a different trip altogether than backpacking across
you know
Europe.
What? And it's not even like I have to wear this. Like if we're going to a school, I'll wear like maybe a dark jean with a cute shoe and a cute top with a belt and do my hair where I'm not super fancy and I tone it down. But I was teasing my makeup girl this morning. I had on a silk robe as she's doing my makeup. I mean, I don't even sit there getting my makeup done with because I enjoy those things.
Yeah, sure.
But I feel like, when is it appropriate to, I guess, women do this to other women, intimidate them? Because I don't care. It's not about money. You can go to Walmart. You can go to Goodwill.
We talked about
and
that,
find
remember?
Inexpensive, nicer looking clothing. So it's not about money. Why do these women, and it's a lot with women, why do they attack other women that are put together when I couldn't care less what they're wearing? Yeah. What is that about, Rod?
You know, by the way, men do the same thing.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, it's maybe not as
well, women get messy.
Yeah,
they get like cliquey.
Men don't, but you know, it becomes somewhat of a power play or a judgment. You know, where you know if somebody walks in and they're real put together and they're very young. You know, they take for a guy, they look at it, it was like, man, dad must have some money.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Or, you know, or they're a trust fund baby or something like that, instead of them actually earning it. Oh. And when I first got started in the business at 19, you know, I was working with people that were older than me, you know, 40, 50 years old, some of them even older than that. And I didn't come from money, but I wanted to make sure that I looked the part. I wanted them to look at me and go, I can give this guy $1,000 or $5,000 or $20,000 or whatever it is, and this guy's going to dress me. I wanted to look like I was going to actually return. I wanted to look like I could make them look like I've made you guys right now, even way back then when I was 19. So how am I going to do that when I was just a kid from Kansas,
right?
That these people could trust? Number one is I had to be confident in myself.
Yeah.
And so I dressed not like a 19-year-old. I dressed more in the realm of what they wore. So I was
and you're a walking billboard.
Yes, I was. I dressed more conservative. You know, I didn't show up to those guys in a color like this back when I was 19. I'll be honest. The reason why is because I didn't want them to look like I was a flash in the pan and that I had a red Ferrari out in the parking lot. You know, typical, total trust fund, right? I wanted to look like somebody that was out hustling and really working hard to earn their business. And so I looked a part that communicated that, even if it was just within myself. And so I was confident in the way I looked for them to be able to trust me to make them something, if that makes any sense. And I think that that's the way it is in in all ways we
But
dress.
how do you
It's
tell
okay.
women to like not be so aggressive to other women? That why do they make it because we want to maybe look nice? We're shallow. We're self-centered. We don't care about anybody else. We're better than them. Why does it portray that to them?
You know what? I don't think you'll ever get rid of that, Megan. I'm sorry. I think that it'll always be that way because we can't control what other people think. We can only just feel good within ourselves. And I'll give you an example. Okay, so we're in bright colors, and I have no idea what the rest of our day holds, but I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay with the way I look. I'll probably be the only person that we meet today that's in a tie in Phoenix, Arizona. But I'm okay with that.
Very likely.
I'm okay with that. And now, if I go to like Denver is a city that has really changed over the last 20, 30, 40 years. When I started the business back in 1982, it was very dressed up. It came from a cow town, and it all of a sudden was big city. And people dress like big city. If you go back there now, it's Timberline. I mean, guys are going to the office in flannel shirts.
Oh, they're all dressing like they're mountain climbing.
They're all Eddie Bowered out. And so now I would probably tone it down if I were trying to earn their business. I'm not going to put on a flannel Eddie Bauer shirt. Okay,
I can't imagine you in a flannel.
I know,
I just
right?
can't. I'm like sitting here imagining
I can't
Rod.
either. I don't own one. But my point is I'm not going to go out specifically and do that. Now, I may tone down what my wardrobe is. I may not wear a tie. Or if I did, it's going to be something that communicates that, I'm not from LA, celebrity, kind of dressing people. I would probably tone down a lot of different things. Again, because I would want to communicate to them that I can take care of them just like I take care of you guys, or that I take care of somebody in New York or in Texas or in Tennessee or in North Dakota or in Washington. It's, again, I think
But you get to be that people pleaser, though, with changing what you look like. Whereas how do people stay true to who they are, not in that business, to say, this is who I am. And if you don't like that I'm dressing up, then tough.
I'm okay with toning it down too. Now, again, it's understanding the groups and the settings. And you don't want to go outside of your personality.
Right.
Okay. Again, there's nothing wrong with being true to yourself.
Hey, real quick, if you're new here, my name is Ken Gerber, and I run Gerber Injury Law here in Phoenix, Arizona. If you've been hurt in an accident, I want you to hear me clearly. The insurance company is not on your side. They have lawyers working for them from day one. You deserve the same. At my firm, we take on car accidents, slip and falls, and all types of personal injury cases across Arizona. And here's what I tell every single client. You pay nothing unless we win. No upfront costs, no risk, just me and my team fighting hard to get you what you're actually owed. If you've been injured, don't wait and don't settle cheap. Give us a call. The consultation is completely free, and I'll personally make sure we take care of you. All right, back to the show.
Yeah, you're never going to catch me in men's sweats with men's gym shoes and a man's t-shirt with my hair in a ponytail. I don't like that even if I'm going to hang out in my house and do toasting of the sandal juice.
I don't know what that means, but I'm so glad that she does dress the way she does.
No,
and
again,
dresses up.
Because you know what? She spends a lot of time on nutrition, fitness, all of the things that she does to be attractive, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's a compliment to you that she wants to be that way for you, and vice versa.
Sure.
And for Kevin.
I don't know who this Kevin guy is, but I guarantee I'm going to find out.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway,
it's a joke.
That's
she misspoke my name.
I know, right?
Before we started.
I was trying to say Megan and Ken, and it came out Kevin instead of Kegan.
That's the story. I'm going to get to the bottom of
It's
it.
true. There's no Kevin.
Good thing you've got that law back behind you.
But looping back to the subject that we actually started with, how we were talking about, this can cause problems in relationships if one partner is trying to push the other one too far out of their comfort zone, right?
Yeah, I think it's, and again, going back to my book series, that's what I try to maybe teach people, even as a couple, is to understand that Ken's not like you, Megan. His personality will never be like yours. To where,
I know that.
To where,
right? You loud and clear about that.
Dude, you're getting dissed
Softball.
today.
There you go, Megan. Take that one.
I know, right? And I think as couples, it's really important for you to understand, Megan, when you walk into a room, you're going to want all eyes on you. Okay? And that's not in a, I don't know, pretentious kind of way.
No, I guess it is more like I don't care if eyes are on me. So if I walk in the room, I want to be put together and beautiful. And
Right.
so if you don't look at me, I don't care. But if you do, I'm like, I hope that I'm living up to what that, like if we're all supposed to be dressed up, I want to be the part.
Yeah, and for Ken's that personality that when he walks into the room is probably going to slide in around the back.
No.
Okay. Well, so
He is, look at me,
right.
I just
Okay.
do it in darker colors.
You just do it in darker colors.
We both have big eye in the disc test.
Yeah.
We
Well,
both
and
are
for me, when I walk into a room, again, because I do what I do,
you want eyes on you.
I want people to go, "Who's that guy?"
Oh yeah, I love that.
And
Yeah, I guess you're right. I do
because
feel
what
that
it
way.
does, and the other thing is that when I tell them what I do, they're looking at me and they're looking top to bottom and they're going,
That fits.
he could dress me.
Yeah.
Well, I know one time we went to Louis Vuitton with you, and you were dressed up and Ken wasn't, and the lady that was a shopper, she assumed me and you were together because I was dressed up and you were dressed up and Ken was not, and they're like, "Wait, she's with him?" I said that to Skyla.
With Kevin.
That's
They're
my
like,
alter ego, I guess.
I guess so.
They're like, "Oh, I thought that was your dad, and these two were together. Him, okay." And Skyla's like, "Dad, you need to get dressed up next
Yeah.
time we go out,
Yeah. Not making that mistake again.
especially when you're next to Rod."
Right. No, but talking about walking into a room, you walk into a place and you want people to, when they hear that you're a stylist, go, "Oh yeah, that makes sense."
Yeah.
As an attorney and kind of the face man for our law firm.
Yeah.
You're not the face man.
I'm not the face woman. I'm the
Oh,
face
that's true.
man.
I know you are the face man.
No,
I'm just making a joke.
when I show up, I kind of feel like I'm always that persona. I want people to
You are.
recognize that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a competent guy. That's a put together guy. If he's handling legal cases, he's going to do a good job.
Look at his wife. He
Right.
must be a put together guy.
That's exactly.
I know, that
and
goes-
you know
I'm
what?
kidding.
That's happened with me as well. In my showroom, I had a big event one night, and there was a lot of people that came to the event that didn't know me. But they came because they had heard all about my showroom and all of the things that I was doing. And I had somebody come in, and within a few minutes, they came over and they introduced themselves to me. And they said, "You've got to be Rod."
I love that.
They said, "I could just tell by the way you stood, by the way you're dressed, and just this confidence about you."
It's true.
That I could just tell that this was your place.
Yep.
And I think that right there, that encompasses the whole thing. I recognized who I am, the passionate and the personality that I am, but I also recognized the group and the setting, the group being all of the different people that were going to be there that night, and then the setting being my showroom. And that right there, it was spot on. I bullseyed exactly what I was trying to do with that event.
Yeah, I love that.
And it was a successful event. I had people that I hadn't worked with that I ended up working with because everything was just right. Because I took the time to dress the way I needed to communicate. And I would encourage anyone that's watching the podcast to understand that about themselves, but also understand that about maybe their partner, that they're not the same. They may not be the same personality,
Right.
and they may not be the same coloring, as far as hair tones and different things. There's people that do color analysis on you that say, don't wear, you're a summer, you're a winter, whatever. Don't wear these colors. Don't wear these colors. That's great for the camera, but that's not always the right thing for the boardroom. So it's not always the right thing for court.
Right. What can you say to somebody if they're out shopping, together with their spouse, their partner, whatever?
Don't say that looks fat on you.
Good point.
Clearly, never say that.
You will get throat punched.
But if you've got one member of the couple that's saying, "I love when you wear this color," and the other one's going, "I don't like that at all, and I think I look stupid in it." I mean, how do you handle that?
Well, for me, I actually have to deal with that every day.
Yeah.
When shopping with people. If you remember right, when we all went out shopping the last time I was here in town, I had you putting on colors. There was a few colors that I had you put on that you were like, well, I don't know about that. Right?
But it's hard because he walks out with it on and he looks all glum and like, this doesn't look right. And you're like, would you just stand up and act like the way that they come out, you can already tell they don't like it because if he likes it, he's like, look at this, babe. Doesn't this look hot? And then if he comes out with something he doesn't like, it's all slopey. Yeah. Look at this, doesn't look right. Does it look right to you? And you're like, stand up. Let me see what that looks like.
Yeah. And you know what? In directing people, I spend time with them on, okay, understand this color. I know this is not a color for you, because I can already tell it when I'm bringing it in there. They're looking at me in the dressing room going, you want me to put that on? I just want you to put it on.
What you say is slip it on.
I want you to slip it on. I just want to see what it does to you. It doesn't mean you have to get it. I just want to see what it does, because I design wardrobes for people, right? So I want you to see the different ways you can wear this with what you already have. And so it opens up their mind. Okay, I don't have to buy it, but Rod wants to see it on me, so I'll appease him. So they slip it on.
I love
and
that word.
And they're like,
it sounds so easy. It's just like, could you just slip this on for me real quick? I like that word. It's just very easy.
Well, if a doctor told you that, so let's just say you've got a pain, like in your back. Nothing worse than a pain in your back, right? Your back hurts.
Right.
So if a doctor says, I want you to take this because it will relieve that pain in your back, and you're sitting there barely able to breathe because it hurts so bad, would you take it from a doctor?
Yes.
Probably, sure. Right? Well, so it's kind of the same thing for me when I recommend, listen, I really want to see this color on you because it's a great color for you and it's going to go with all the other things you have in your closet. You're more likely to slip it on than if I say, just put this on because I like it.
Right. Slip it on seems optional. When you just slip it on and I'm going to...
It's non-committal.
I want you to buy this is a whole different communication. Right. So I just want you to slip it on. And there were a few things, Ken, that the last time we went shopping that you got that I didn't think you would get. But you saw it and you saw what my vision was.
Right.
To go, even though they were basically the same colors as what you have on, but there were a couple little different variations of this that really work for you. That's why the jacket that you have on and the shirt combination you have on, you didn't even pick.
Not at all. You picked that. Yeah, it was a surprise
This
today.
was a surprise today.
Yeah.
Because I knew that this was something in your wardrobe that would really be a great addition.
Yeah.
Okay. And it would go with everything from jeans to pants to whatever you have in your closet. And so I knew this was a no-brainer. But I knew that if you looked at it in a swatch,
I'd never be able to envision it.
You wouldn't be able to envision it. Again, that's where, people do trust experts.
Yeah, I have a question too.
Yeah, hit me.
So, moms. There's tons of moms in Arizona. There's tons of moms everywhere. But I know that there's a lot of, moms in the valley that are always, I'm too tired, they just had a baby. How can they feel their best and look cute when they're tired? Like, besides just putting on a sweatshirt and Lululemons or some stretch pants, if they want to go out, what are some good options for these moms to try and figure out because they're going to be changing sizes, they're losing weight after the baby. What are some good options for them where they don't have to constantly be spending money on clothes and still feel beautiful? And because sometimes it gets lonely being a mom, and how can they feel their best without spending a ton? And
that's a huge question, and I've dealt with it. I think for me, I have to go inside. I have to really find out, where do they want to be? Okay, if they want to be back to where they were when they first started, before they had kids, and what that path is. If they're doing only diet, that's going to be one change in their body, right? If they're doing exercise but not changing up what they're eating, that's a whole nother thing. If they're doing both, that tells me they've got some commitment going on and that they're truly wanting to get back to where they were. So I will work with them. It's not a one-time wonder shot. This is something that's going to be a path, and I may have them in things that are cute, again, to depending on their personality, on what they want to communicate. If they want to communicate that they're cute, that they're a beautiful woman to their husband, to everybody else, then I'm going to dress them that way. If there's anything within their wardrobe that can incentivize them to get back to that size, I'll look toward that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but do you have any tips? Like, let's say they can't afford to use you at this point, and they're like, you know what, I want to save up to use Rod. Do you have any tips on certain shapes of clothing? I know it depends on the body type, but if you have like the fupa going on,
Yes.
is that a dirty word? I don't know. You got a bigger belly.
Yeah.
Are there certain styles that women that are nursing or that have a bigger belly that are more flattering for those women, where they can listen to our podcast and then say, you know what, Rod helped me with this. I was able to go get X, Y, and Z. Are there some staples that you could recommend?
I would first focus on the color. Okay. Color is like the color you have on, no matter what size you are, Megan, that color is such a great color on you. And it's going to make you feel a certain way, even though you may not be at the size that you want to be. So I would gravitate somebody back to colors that really make them feel good.
Oh, because I know a lot of times they probably go to bland colors if they don't feel beautiful, because they don't want to be like, I'm heavier than I should be. I'm just going to do white or black or something like that.
Well, and that's why black is the biggest selling color. If you were to want to go into the clothing business, okay, and go into the clothing industry and start a brand for yourself, you're probably going to buy, it would be smart for you to buy a lot of black. And the reason why is because people buy black first. Why? Because black is very slimming. Black forgives a lot, where light colors expose a lot. They can expand you when you don't want to be expanded. You have to really be careful of the style and the fit and all that, where black forgives it all. And so, but I think when someone like yourself says, for women, what's going to make them feel really good about themselves is to wear the colors that they like first. And then go with styles that are forgiving. Okay, whether you're an apple shape or your other shapes, go with something, but you're going to have to take effort and try things on.
Well, talk about, because I don't know what those mean, and I would imagine that the different shapes, there's different styles that work for them. What specifically would you mean for those types of shapes?
That's a whole nother session, to go into, because shapes, you really learn that by trying things on. But like someone that is more of a round shape or apple shape, there's certain styles that are going to enhance and forgive. okay, where, you know, the top might be a whole different top versus if someone is more of a pencil shape, you know, somebody that's very thin, because what they do is they wear some things that are more curvaceous, that create shape. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I know that when I was heavier, because I've gone up and down in weight, I know it was a big deal because I am also large-breasted, that I defined my waist. And a lot of women that have bigger waists feel like they have to wear something very just, you know, flowy and big around their waist, when I feel that that's not doing them any favors, especially if you're big-breasted and you have a big belly and you're just having this big, you just kind of look like a pumpkin.
Yeah.
Whereas if you know,
which is the apple shape I was referring
your
to.
apple. And if you, I feel like a lot of times there's illusion with clothing that if maybe the woman wore something that she belted and then had something flowy over it, it creates that waistline.
Yeah,
that those
well,
women are looking
because
for.
the waist line has switched from where it used to be before kids to where it's not there anymore.
Yeah.
What you have to do is you have to create it, and a lot of times that can be right under.
Yeah, empire waist, right?
Yeah, that could be right under the breast line to where you can create that, and then it flows out. And same thing with someone that's not as curvaceous. You know, you can create that by, whether it's a belt, and some women don't like belts, but you can create that by different layering and cinching and things like that.
Okay.
But that's something that you really do have to experiment with to see what really works for you.
So would you say for them to maybe try something on and take a picture of it and look at themselves in a picture?
You know what? I do it all the time for myself. You know, where I will go into a store and I will try things on because I see it in the window. You know, you window shop, you see it in the window and you're like, oh, I really like that. I wonder if I could wear that. And so I'll go in there and I'll do the same thing. I'll slip it on and I'll take a picture of it and I'll look at it and go, man, that color washes me out. Or that style, it just does not work for me. You know what I mean? Like right now, there's a real transition from going with a real skinny pant to where it's starting to get big again, right? Even in men's clothes, where and I'm not even in that transition because big leg pants for me, being a small guy, oh my gosh, I look like a fire plug. I look like I'm 4 foot instead of 5'6".
You look like a
barely.
fire plug.
I do.
It's interesting to me how much of it is actually, it seems like it's counterintuitive. Like, you know, as guys age, we start to, you know, put on a little bit more in the midsection. And so for a while I was wearing shirts that were untucked because I was thinking, well, I want to try and hide that. Yeah. And then at one point Megan said to me, she goes, turn to the side and look in the mirror. And she's like, you see what it's doing? It's hanging off of your belly and it just really accentuates what you're doing.
I wasn't being mean though.
No. But she was helping me understand. It was doing the exact opposite of what I thought it was doing. And so now I realize, okay, tuck it in and that helps with that. But if I tuck it in really tight, then it's again accentuating it. So there's kind of this middle ground of tucking it in, but having it kind of loose when I'm tucked in.
Correct.
And that's really kind of helping with that shape.
And unfortunately, I think that a lot of times we think in order to, this is an opposite thinking that I'm not sure where it comes from, to be honest with you, but a lot of times we think that if I wear something slimmer and tighter, I'm going to look slimmer.
Right.
Yes.
But actually what it does is it makes you look bigger.
It does.
And sometimes you think, oh, on the opposite side, if I wear something bigger, then I'm going to look smaller. So, but sometimes that's not the case.
Yeah.
There is a real middle ground. It's like the way I made your shirt. I didn't make it, if you notice, real tight.
Right.
I made it to where it was just nice and comfortable.
Right.
To where you could tuck it in or whatever. So that's something that when you find a brand and you find that it fits you, or a designer, and they make a style that really works for you, works for your body, it works for your personality, it works for your groups and settings of where you go, then stick with that. Stick with that fit. I tell people it's one of the reasons why I've made clothes for people for over 40 years, because they like the style and the design. Now, do I update it every once in a while? Do I may go a little slimmer? Do I may go a little bit more colorful or longer or wider or whatever? Yeah, I follow the styles, but I don't ever take them out of who they are when I'm actually putting together wardrobes, where a lot of designers that come out, like I remember in the 90s, in the early 2000s, Tommy Bahama just went off the charts for men's clothes. Mm-hmm. They had this, which was referred to later. Hopefully the guy from Tommy Bahama doesn't listen to this podcast, because he'll probably sue me. But anyway, the shirt became the Moomoo for guys.
Oh.
The reason why is because, remember, it was untucked.
Right.
It was longer,
right,
similar to our jackets. So guys didn't wear jackets anymore. They wore their Tommy Bahama shirts. And what happened is, instead of it making them look thinner, what happened is they actually would put on weight because they could. And their shirts always looked normal, right? Because it forgave it all. That was similar to what that Untucked shirt did, where you would wear that shirt untucked and it wasn't like real tight and tailored. It was just a medium fit, sometimes even a larger fit, and it forgave all of that beer belly.
And you're making, that is a big deal, because I know during COVID, a lot of people wore stretch
Tights.
Pants, all those things. And I think that when you wear fitted clothing, I remember back in the 80s, it was like, oh, time to lose some weight. My belt's getting tighter, my button's getting tighter, because it's not forgiving. And I think that we've gotten lazy in that sense in our country as well, because we can just wear super stretchy clothing or big clothing that you never even know. You're like, I didn't even know I gained 40 pounds. If you're wearing the same pants that you gained 40 pounds in, then you were wearing the wrong pants, because they should not be that forgiving.
But the whole stretch thing, it really gives people that ability. And the great part is that it's still comfortable on them until they're at 30 or 40 pounds up.
Right.
And all of a sudden they're like, okay, this is not working out.
But if that's all they're
me.
wearing, that's the problem.
That it is. And I get calls from companies, and I think I said this maybe on our last program, is that I get calls from companies that say, listen, we look like a yoga studio.
Yeah.
We need to change. But I don't know what that looks like, Rod. Maybe we're a law firm, or maybe we're an accounting firm, or a tech firm, or whatever. And they're like, we're scared to have customers come into our office because we look like a yoga studio. And I'm actually concerned, this is from C-level executives, I'm actually concerned with what my employees, when they go out to see customers, are actually communicating, or what they're wearing. I don't know. They're not wearing suits anymore. So what are they wearing? Are they going out there looking like they just came from the gym?
Right.
And so I do consult companies all across the country on okay, what is it that you want to communicate about your company? Maybe you need to go back to the mission statement of your company and say, what are we actually preaching to our customers or our clients or the public in our brand? What do we actually want to communicate? And is what we're wearing communicating that in our employees when they go out to see them? Are we communicating that we are a high quality brand? Are we communicating that we are appreciative and grateful for our customers? Are we communicating that we're professional? Are we communicating that we're the best? And
right.
By the way, the price that we charge our clients and customers, are we communicating that
it's worth it?
It's worth it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or are we communicating something completely different in what our employees are wearing? That's something that most companies don't consider, but they wonder why their numbers are down. They wonder why business maybe not being as good, and they look at the market, they look at the trends,
Right.
they look at all these other things, but do they actually look inside at their employees and say, maybe this great guy is a great closer, or the gal is a great closer of getting deals, but maybe their numbers are down. And do they ever look at, well, maybe my employee's actually communicating the wrong thing?
Yeah, and it seems like for guys, at least, one of the things that I've picked up from you, from the few times we've gotten together to talk, specifically about style, is there's a lot that I could be wearing that I can change just by putting on a jacket. I mean, it can go with literally, tens of different types of dress that I have on, the jeans, or not shorts, obviously.
Right.
But slacks, or, a t-shirt, a polo, and just put a jacket on over it. And that steps it up a level.
Well, you know what? Actually, I think I might have even said this to you. If someone were to walk into your office and you were there, they would know exactly who Ken Gerber is.
Yeah, they would.
Sure.
Because the employees that are there doing the books, and they're answering the phones, that are doing all the legal work in the background behind the scenes, they don't look like what you look like right now. And if someone were to walk into your firm and saw you dressed the way you are right now, they'd know you're Ken Gerber.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's communicating. You don't have to sit there and go, oh, by the way, I'm Ken.
Yeah. And you don't,
Not him.
You don't have to be the CEO to have that look. Anybody who's front facing for the business, who's meeting with the public, probably should have some semblance of style. And it doesn't have to be dressed up and, tie and
Right.
really dressed to the nines with it. It could be just stepping it up with a jacket or something like that.
It could be. And what the look that you have on right now, what it communicates is that if I were someone and let's just say I was in an accident or whatever, okay, it would communicate that, wow, this guy looks like he's going to win my case.
Right.
And that's exactly what, as a customer, you want, because it looks like, wow, that guy is put together. And that's,
And we will win the case.
exactly. And so it's not working against you. If you walked in sweats,
Yeah.
and I know that that's a complete, but also if you walked in a suit and tie, badly fitting,
Right.
looked like you were just shoveled, kind of that that Columbo. Remember
Yeah.
Columbo on the TV
Right.
show,
He
that
looked
attorney
disorganized
guy?
The shoes untied, and
The guy looked like he was disheveled, looked like he
Yeah.
hadn't slept in a week,
Right.
or he slept in the same clothes for a week. That communicates something. Isn't it something how you both remember that show?
Yes.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you remember how disheveled
Yes.
that guy was.
Right.
It was purposeful for that. And so, you were surprised when the guy would actually find the criminal.
Yeah, well, that was his whole persona, was trying to be the one that you would underestimate, and then he would come through at the end with the brilliant take on
The brilliant take
Yeah.
that no one else thought of.
right, but
Right?
but he was doing that actually on purpose to be underestimated, so people would tell him things that they wouldn't tell
Exactly.
other people.
But isn't that something that
Yeah.
different from, the Magnum PI,
Right.
or the Matlock, or
Right.
Maddox, or whatever those other ones, because they had a completely different
Right.
persona.
Yeah.
Wasn't it not Matlock, but Magnum PI that drove the Ferrari?
Right.
Wasn't that Tom
Right.
Selleck?
That's Tom Selleck,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, he had a different persona.
Right.
He pulls up in a Ferrari. Well, they're like, that guy's probably going to win my case too, and he's good looking too,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
that's the guy I want to work with.
Exactly. Rod, in your book, don't you have like 5 ingredients? When I was reading your book, there's personality, budget.
So the 5 steps, Megan, are,
Explain.
I look at someone's passions, because the passions of what they're passionate about is a huge ingredient. And I've probably said this to you before. If someone is into cars, their whole life is about cars.
Right.
You know, if they're into law, you know, their whole life is about that. If it's into beauty, that's gonna be reflected in everything that they do, or skincare, whatever. The second ingredient is your personality. Your personality is so complicated, and the way you dress. If you can dress in a way that communicates your personality, you will always feel more confident. You'll always feel better. You won't be like, I wonder if I'm in the wrong color. I wonder if this looks good. Does this make me look fat? Right? Does this make me look short?
Yeah.
You know, that goes away because you're dressing for your personality. The thing we talked about today also in a great deal was the groups and settings. What is the group that you're going to be meeting with? And do you match that? The settings, you know, whether it's in Denver, Colorado, or wherever it is, you know, are you going to be dressed in a way that reflects your passions, your personality, and the group that you're with in the setting of Denver or wherever it is? And then the last ingredient that's a part of the Extraordinarily You concept and my book series is your resources. You know, you may not have a lot of resources to be able to dress the way you want. It doesn't mean that you can't. You just have to find the right places that can, based on your budget, that can give you the look that matches the groups and the settings, your personality, and what you're passionate about is. And so that's why, you know, you can dress whether you have a lot of money or you have very little money. You can still be confident in the way you dress and you look no matter where you go. And that's why I love talking about my concept, because it's something that I didn't hear in a book or anything. That's why I wrote the book series, is to really to help people that don't get a chance to use me. I give them the chance to have the ingredients in order for them to dress the way God created them to be.
And where can they get your book, Rod?
It's going to be launching on Amazon. The name of my third book is Your Clothing Speaks Long Before You Do, which is what we've talked about so much today.
Yeah. And then if they want to reach out to you directly, what's the best way for them to do that?
They can reach out to me by email, which is rod@rod-allen.com. And Allen is spelled A-L-A-N.
I didn't spell it like...
Not A-L-L-E-N.
And are you Baker or Bakey?
To you, I'm Bakey. To
Well,
Ken,
that's good because I'm Kevin. So
no, we're completely off. We're lucky to even be here at
just
this
have
point.
Megan make up names for everybody.
That's what makes her Megan.
I know. We love her for it.
I didn't spell Allen with 2 L's. That's Ken's printing.
Thanks for being here, Rod.
You bet.
Really
Thank you guys
enjoyed it.
for both having me. I really appreciate it.
And don't forget, we do have the scholarship for driving defensive classes available. We are giving away 12. This month we will be giving away number 4. So go to our website. There is an icon that shows the driving defensive class scholarship with driving MBA. Make sure you fill it out. We're trying to give it to families with kids age 15 and a half to 18 that are in need of some help, because we really want to make these roads safer.
Beautiful. Thanks, Meg. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time.